My guest today is a great singer, songwriter, guitar player, and the man behind the group Big Wreck. I'd like to welcome Ian Thornley. Hey, man. Good to speak with you. Thanks for calling.
No problem at all. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Listen, congrats on the album. I know it's release day here in the States, so for giving us a few minutes here is great. I appreciate it.
It's no problem at all, dude.
But anyway, so congrats on the record. How's it? It's been out in Canada for like a month or so, right? I mean, how's it being received, and what are you sort of getting from it?
I don't really know, man. I try not to pay attention to that stuff too much. Even on like the sort of social media side of things, I find, you know, good or bad, it's gonna distract me somehow. You know.
Right, yeah, sure.
Generally it's like when somebody says something really negative, that's gonna really get under my skin. But you never know who it is that's saying it. So, but I think, I mean, as far as the numbers go, I think it's doing well. We get these weekly updates from management. And every once in a while, when I remember, I'll ask, "So how are we doing?" And it seems to be. I mean, people seem to dig it. So,
yeah.
I've heard it on the radio a couple of times in the wife's car. So, it's you know, I can't really ask for much more. I've said it before. Like, my job is done when I hear the masters and we say, okay, this is the record. You know,
right.
Then I'm like, okay, does it move me? Does it do all the things that I want it to do to me? And if I can, you know, sort of check off every box in that list, then I'm done, and I feel like I've done a great job. And I hope that it gets received by people. And of course, you want other people to like it, but it's sort of, I've been doing this long enough to know that they're not going to like it if I don't like it, you know. And I've been through that before, where I've done something that I'm, you know, not terribly satisfied with, but I've been promised that it's going to make us millions of dollars.
Right.
And of course, when you're young and dumb, you say, okay, let's do it. And then when that doesn't happen, guess what? You're stuck with something that you're not really satisfied with. So I'm willing to, you know, I would just sort of not really hedging my bets, because I'm just happy to even have a career or have anyone's ear at this point. So it's yeah, I'm just really pleased with the record. So and all I can do is hope that that there's other people with sort of like-minded, awesome taste in music.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? I just like, there's got to be some people that are into the same stuff as me that would get off on a record like this. I said, like I said, I try not to pay attention to it. But somebody reviewed the record and said it was like sort of scatterbrained and that it was schizophrenic, and I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You know, when somebody says that something's too long or that it's this, like, I just, you know, I granted, everybody, there's got to be enough room for everybody, right? And opinions, everybody's got them, and you know, it takes all kinds and all that stuff. But there's always something in back of my mind that says they're doing it wrong. You're listening wrong. You're doing it wrong.
Right. I mean, that's sort of a criticism. I don't think that's your record at all, but generally speaking, I mean, that's a criticism that I never understood. You know, there's too many styles on the album. It's too different. It's too, like, I think that's a good thing. You know, Zeppelin and Queen and the Beatles, they handled that okay, you know?
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. That's what I wish I could respond to these people. Yeah, well, you've made a vocational error.
Right.
You're listening to music incorrectly. You know, you're listening with your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a lot to ask you, but you know, in terms of singles for an album, are you choosing those, or how does that come about? Because when I listen to this new album, when I'm listening to this new album, I could hear like 10 different ones that I'm like, oh, that's a hit. And then so you end up with, you know, Come What May, which is the newest single, which is great too. So how did that happen?
That was a weird thing. I just sort of, again, I'm kind of on the sidelines when it comes to that stuff. I was like, the one that I would have picked would have been wrong, guaranteed.
Right.
And who knows? It really is a roll of the dice with any of this stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I know that it was different in the States than it was in Canada, right? They want to Come What May in the States, and then they want to Ghost in Canada.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm not sure if Ghost was officially a single in the States or not. You're right. Because the album coming out a lot later. So I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah. See, it's all very, you know, people much more clever than me are making these decisions. So it's, and I don't know. I'm sure it has a lot to do with formats and radio and what they think they can get something slotted in as or with, or, you know, I don't know. And I know that we probably, you know, we're a little more well known up here, so we can maybe get away with a little more stylistically. So we can try something that's a little more off the beaten path. Whereas, you know, I think in the States, a lot of people would think that we're a new band, essentially. So you want something that at least the interpretation would be that it's slightly more digestible.
Well, you know what's interesting
for a newcomer, you know. So
right.
I don't really know if that's the case, because even that Come What May has that midsection in it, which is, you know, a complete left turn, and I love that. So who knows?
You know what's interesting about you being considered a new band? I wasn't sure how many people in the States are still aware of the band or not. I mean, I've certainly kept up with them, and so are people that I know. But and not that you guys are really a prog band, which is what our site mostly focuses on. But I try to always feature bands that I think, well, if you like interesting music in general, you'll like this band, prog or not. You know, and so kind of feature some band like that, which I posted a clip of one of the songs from the new album on our Facebook page, and surprisingly got a ton of responses, and a lot of them were from, hey, I saw them open for Dream Theater back in the day, which
yeah,
I was at that show when you guys opened for Dream Theater off the first album, and very positive response. So, you know, you're crossing those audience boundaries, I guess,
that's great.
For anything. But
that's great. I have a lot of fond memories of that run. I also have a lot of strange. Some of the markets where, I mean, those Dream Theater fans are rabid, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all, the four of us, had more than our share of lit cigarettes flicked at us, people flipping us the bird while we're playing, and you know, I guess that's how you sort of earn your stripes.
Right.
But no, the guys in the band were great, and, you know, hanging with John was like that was a great sort of a great way to, you know, be thrown to the lions, as it were, you know,
right.
You know, on our first record. But yeah, I still hear people say, "Yeah, we saw when you opened for Dream Theater." Like, no.
That's an odd claim to fame to have, right, in the States, I guess.
It is. It's weird, but why not? You know, I'm good with it.
So, you know, the band split up, and then you did Thornley for a few albums, and then you decided to get back together. So what was the process of reuniting, you know, with some of the members, I guess, and bringing the Big Wreck band back?
Well, Brian lives not far from here. He had married a Canadian girl and stayed in Canada after Big Wreck parted ways the first time. So, yeah, we just sort of lost contact, you know, as buddies, and we just hadn't really chatted throughout the years while I was doing the Thornley thing. I think you know, occasionally getting close to Christmas, I might have blown a call into him and said, you know, happy holidays. But beyond that, it wasn't much, and I honestly just missed him. I just blew a call into him one afternoon. And we just started shooting the breeze, and it turned out he was going to be in Toronto for something or other, and, you know, maybe we should hook up for a coffee. So we did. And then I was playing a show out towards him, a Thornley show, and he came out. And at that show, we got another offer for a show in Edmonton or something that Paulo, the guitarist in Thornley, wasn't going to be there for, because he was going to Portugal to get married. So... And then I just kind of looked, and Brian was sitting right there. So it was one of those, like, well, Brian, you want to fill in for Paul? And Brian was like, sure. You know, learn a couple Thornley tunes and maybe play a couple Big Wreck tunes. And then, you know, did that show, and it was great. And it was the chemistry was, you know, exactly the same. It felt oddly not odd at all, you know.
Right.
And then we just sort of came up with the idea of doing a tour. Not even a tour, really, just a run of a few dates where we do Thornley and Big Wreck, like do a set of Thornley music and then do a set of Big Wreck music. And initially that idea was going to be that the band would change from Paulo to Brian, and we'd do this and that. But the stuff sounded so good with 3 guitar players, and most of the music has so many layers to it anyway that we need that many, you know. The band sounded so good as a 5-piece, so we just kind of kept the same 5 guys on stage and just changed the backdrop, you know. And then it was time to make a record, so we went into the studio as whatever the band was, not intentionally going to make a big rec album. We were just making an album.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Nick Raskulinix that suggested it'd be called a big rec album, which both Brian and I were like, ew, no, can't do that because Forrest and Dave are involved, you know. But then, everyone was sort of, Eric Ratz was all over the ideas. A few people were like, yeah, dude, and putting big rec stickers on the track sheet and stuff. And I was like, ugh. And then eventually it just sort of sunk in, and, you know, I just sort of tried it on for a couple of weeks, and I was like, you know what, why not? Let's see what happens. Because I also wanted to, like, close out the Thornley thing, and sort of switch gears from that, right?
Right.
So, you know, and then that was the Albatross record, and, you know, here we are now. We're still sort of doing that.
Were you, was there sort of kind of a nervousness if that there would be an audience that, you know, was welcoming Big Rec back, or you didn't worry about that as much?
Yeah, I didn't really worry about that. I mean, I don't know if it's my ego or whatever, but I always assume that people know that I'm the guy from Thornley and I'm the guy from Big Rec, and I'm the same guy.
Right, sure.
You know, so I don't really know. It's just, my worry was just the fact that it's not the original lineup, and you know, maybe that people would think, oh, this is some sort of, like, you know, late '90s band doing some sort of cash grab comeback thing. Which is, I was like, well, why don't we just call it something else? You know, like anything. Because it is a lot different. I mean, the vibe is different. The feel is different. You know, the music might feel similar because the sort of restrictions have been taken off. You know, it was with the Thornley thing, there were way too many restrictions and I couldn't handle it anymore. Now it's just like, well, I get to make the music I want to make, and I guess that's what it sounds like. And it's, you know, a lot of people had a lot of different things to say about it being a big rec album. So, and that's all fine and whatever. I'm fine with it, you know. Yeah. It's been long enough now that it's like, it sort of feels normal, you know.
Sure.
It's just sort of Big Rec V2, if you will, you know, whatever.
Well, listen, I mean, the band sounds as fresh as ever with these new albums. So whatever it is,
yeah, thanks.
It's been great. I know you're touring now in Canada, and that seems to be going well from what I see online. Any chance of doing a run of shows in the States, or is that already planned at all?
I think it's being planned as we speak. At least that's what I've been told. Because we did some shows in there last year, and I had a blast. You know, there were sort of smaller venues, and not that many people showed up, but the people that did show up were so into it that it's, I don't know, it's just such a different vibe from what you get up here. And it was really great. Because it was the kind of thing, like, after the show, I could walk out and literally say hello to everyone there,
Right.
You know, in, like, person to person. So, and that was really cool. But you also can't sustain a tour like that, right? Because you're not making a lot of money when 80 people show up.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things got to be lined up in order for us to be able to do it. And I've been told that that's in the works. If it hasn't already, I mean, I would have heard about it if it was planned already, but I heard that it's in the works.
Yeah, I hope it is, man. I think people here really need to you know the band and the new songs, because there's the rock music, especially in the States, has hit a bit of a lull. It's even on radio stations and everything. So anything that's good needs to be here and recognized.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, like, if we can get out with another band, that would be cool. Yeah. You know, a band that would be a good fit, but I don't even know who would be a good fit for us. I'm sort of out of the loop, you know.
Right. So, what kind of stuff inspires you, to write? Are you listening to, or what are you sort of into these days?
Honestly, I still go back to the things that I've always listened to. You know, I spend a lot of time listening to what I'm working on. But when if I'm on a plane or whatever, I'll always, I'm always buying records and sort of stockpiling my iTunes playlist for just such a, like when you're on a long train ride or a plane ride. And I don't know, I have a hard time with newer stuff generally because I don't trust it, even the stuff that I can feel that it's really great. There's something, and I know that's most likely just me because I have a very intimate relationship with the music that I adore. It really means a lot to me. And it's like if I feel like it's being made for the wrong reasons, or if it somehow it feels dishonest or disposable, I'm instantly turned off, and then I put on Revolver and I'm like, oh, that's what I want. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay, well, I got another hour and a half left in this flight. I can do The Wall. Let's do it. Or Dark Side. Let's do it. So when I have the time, am I gonna, waste it checking out some new band that has a really hot guitar player or is number one in the charts or whatever? I just don't, it doesn't impress me anymore. I need something that, the stuff that I know that works. I need to put on Who's Next because it's going to reach into my chest and grab me by the heart. And, I've only got an hour and a half to feel all those emotions before we land, and I have to, be on. So I'm going to get lost in something I trust,
That's very cool. I like that. What's the next, I guess, plans for Big Rec following the tour, or you haven't gotten there yet?
We haven't gotten there yet, and I think because you can make it across Canada pretty quickly. I mean, it's a massive country, but the cities is pretty small. So that tour is not that long. There's not that many shows, and I'm hoping that means that we'll have something in the States that we can talk about soon. But yeah, there's not much on our plate until we do that run. Aside from preparing for it, because we've been doing a lot of shows that are either a other band's show or a fly-in festival date, and that's a slightly different thing when it's your own sort of gig, and you can build a set and use more. You can do more obscure stuff, and you can stretch things out, and I'm not afraid of losing the audience, Like right. I think it's just they're tuned to my channel a little more, as opposed to some sort of 8-minute thing that goes from this song to that song. We might lose, like, where is everybody? They all went to the bathroom at the same time. Just give them the hits and which is fine. I like doing both, but planning the set and then rehearsing with the band and getting that set ready is going to be. That's going to be a lot of work. So
the Oaf was out and it was a big hit down here in the States at the time when I was just interning back at WIA. And I'm really glad to see that you guys are back.
Thanks a lot, Ron. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Listen, good luck with everything. Enjoy the tour, and hopefully we'll see you around. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man.
All right, take it easy.
Take care.
Thanks to Ian for the interview. We're going to play a track off the new Big Rec album Ghost, the track called Hey Mama. For more information and upcoming interviews, please check theprogreport.com. Thanks.